All right, welcome back. Now, I'm going to go through a slide building off our last discussion around what is people analytics, and I'm going to talk about what I refer to as the worker experience. I know employee experience is the popular naming convention out there, but I want to push the envelope on this because for years it's been something that I've been passionate about. Having been a contractor myself, there's this notion that contractors are second-class citizens, and they're, I think, underappreciated. And particularly given the crisis that we're in with the pandemic, I think the use of contingent labor is going to be increasing, and they have to be understood like employees are understood. What I have here is a depiction of an employee experience, or someone who's actually part of the organization, where they get hired and they might get promoted over time, but ultimately they'll exit the organization, become alumni. There are a host of HR technologies underneath this experience, and all of which create data. Something I want to call out explicitly is that these systems, first and foremost, were created to either stand up a process or improve a process. They were not created to generate insight. We have tried to do that. And we've, in some cases, been successful, but we have to understand the limitations of the data, and we have to go create or find data that might be more appropriate to answer a given business question. So these are, again, conventional HR technologies, and they exist within the organization. What's also within the organization are these collaboration tools, these communication tools. How are we spending time in meetings? How many emails are we sending and receiving per day? Are they sent on a Friday afternoon, thus disrupting people's weekends? So all this data can be analyzed and understood. What's really gotten exciting over the past, I would say, 5 to 7 years is the harnessing of this external data. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's organizations that are dedicated to harnessing this data so it can be understood by organizations, people analytics professionals. So the idea now that we're just going to put all data into one data set and it's going to magically appear as an answer is not a healthy mindset to have. Again, we have to understand the array of data and underlying technologies and choose wisely to answer the given business question. Put another way is, and I'm going to expedite this in the interest of time. I wrote this article a couple of years ago, but I still think it holds true. And particularly in the pandemic, there's some interesting context to add. In short, people analytics in one form or another has been going on for 100 years, give or take. And when people say, well, it's just starting off and we're just about to, I go like this, and I know the IO psychology community also has a similar reaction because they've been doing this work for the heck of a long time, and they've been innovators across the board. Over the last 25 years or so, People Analytics 2.0, the data aggregation and visualization, has really taken hold. And this has been in the wake of the business intelligence revolution that was pioneered in the early to mid 90s. But certainly in the early 2000s, there were some firms, one of which I was privileged to be a part of, InfoHRM or Inform, which became part of SuccessFactors, that really innovated this discipline around HR technology, or I'm sorry, HR data, because HR data is unique. And I won't go into why it's unique. If you don't know, as soon as you get into this world, you will certainly understand it. If you're a customer of this information, just trust that it takes a lot of understanding and staging over time, particularly when you talk about mergers, acquisitions, realignments, restructurings, things like that. So, and lastly, People Analytics 3.0, which has really been prominent over the last several years, where we have AI and machine learning enabling what I would call productization of insight. So it's on demand, and the value is not only being delivered to leaders, as it's formerly been the case, but now it's going down to the team level, and in some cases down to the individual level. And this is really exciting because it helps individuals navigate their career. It helps them understand what learning programs might be optimal to get where they want to go, and so forth. The final thing I'll say here is People Analytics 2.0 has really come to light, and in terms of its value with the pandemic, because people have to understand where the hotspots are, where the risk areas are relative to their workforce. And so if you need to prioritize at this juncture, I would certainly suggest you look at tools like the 0-1 model, and others, People Insight, depending on the size of your organization and your ultimate intentions. There are others out there, so I don't want to put this forth as a recommendation. I'm just very familiar with those, given my relationship. But yes, if you're going to prioritize, if you're a leader, understand that all of these will be in play at some point. If you're really going to invest in people analytics, it's not an and, it's not a maturity progression. It's not an or, rather, it is an and. So I hope this helps for context. There's more on PAFOW.net on this particular topic. And now we'll take a short break and come back with Dan Riley and Patrick Riley, the executive producers of Tuscaloosa.